So in First Nephi chapter 7, Lehi's sons go back to Jerusalem. They convince Ishmael. Actually, the Lord softened the heart of Ishmael and his family, so Ishmael and his family come with him. And then on their way back out into the wilderness, Laman and Lemuel rebel again, and they decided that they're going to go back to Jerusalem. Anyways, so Nephi talks to Laman and Lemuel, and he says, in verse 10 he says, "How is it that you have forgotten that you've seen an angel of the Lord?" Okay, and in verse 11, "How is it that ye have forgotten what great things the Lord hath done in delivering us out of the hands of Laban, and also that we should obtain the record?" So Laman and Lemuel have seen crazy miracles, right? They saw an angel of the Lord, and God helped them through this experience of getting the brass plates, and yet they forgot it. And I've noticed that with several people that I've interacted with, they forget spiritual experiences and miracles if they want to forget them, or if they don't want to see them in the first place. One example of this is Sanford Porter, my ancestor. For a long time in his life, he was an atheist, right? And then he had an experience that brought him back into the gospel. But when he's writing his autobiography after all of this, he talks about, as a child, he had a few spiritual experiences. One where he saw his dead friend, and another one where he had this wonderful dream of heaven. And these are experiences that happened before he became an atheist. And so you wonder, well, what happened to those experiences? Why did he discount them? Why did he decide, well, I might have forgotten, I might have seen a dead friend, but it doesn't matter? And I think that in my experience, people put their spiritual experiences and the miracles on a shelf. There's a saying among people who are having trouble with the church and doubts, that they put issues on a shelf and just kind of ignore them. They're going to put them on a shelf and ignore it, and then they'll say, "Oh, my shelf broke," and then they'll leave the church. But it happens the other way too. People will have spiritual experiences, and they just kind of bracket that. They put it on a shelf. They don't care about it. They ignore it, and they try not to think about it. I also, in my work, I've done surveys with people who have left the church, and you ask them if they've had spiritual experiences, and someone will say, "Yeah, I've had spiritual experiences." And then you say, "Well, what do you think about those spiritual experiences now?" And they'll say, "Oh, I don't think about them." Or the one response that I remember is the person thought, "You know what? Maybe it was just a psychological thing. I really wanted to believe, but I didn't. I really wanted to believe, but I didn't. But I don't think it was real. I think that I just convinced myself that it was real," if that makes sense. That it was a psychological. Essentially, they were saying that they hallucinated it because of social and psychological pressure. They hallucinate their spiritual experience. So anyways, there's lots of ways to explain things away, lots of ways to forget our spiritual experiences. What's really important is wanting to believe in them. And if you want to believe in them and you record them, then you'll remember them, and they'll become strengthening to you in your attempts to live the gospel. But if you don't want to believe them, and then it's not hard to forget them. It's not hard to get rid of it.